Today is a good day for the first tie of the 2023 World Cup. It's two nice teams, well, nice guys versus the ultimate nice guys. And so we thought on Cricbuzz Live, we've got to have two of the nicest people in the fraternity. Joy Bhattacharya, you look nice and happy, sir. You've had a long jog.
I'm looking nice and happy because at least virtually also I'm meeting our guru.
Mr. Bhogle is back in action. Yay! Sir, I never thought I'll use these words ever on camera, but the country wants to know, when is Mr. Bhogle going to be back?
Whenever you say, I didn't want to use these words, but then you brace yourself for what is coming. So now I'm okay. This dengue is not a great thing in any sense. It also uses up two vowels, two E's and a U, and only gives you 8 points in Scrabble. So it's not much good there either.
Brilliant. Perfect. And the most important century of this World Cup was when his platelet count hit 100,000.
Sir, please tell me, is a good cricket game having a positive impact on your platelet count, sir?
I hope so. It's not having a great count on energy levels. But it's good to have young people like you to up the energy stakes.
Sir, I have already spoken to Mr. Gaurav Kapoor. He's advised me to order some Karela, Neem, Doodhi, Guduchi, orange, a combination of all these juices. We're sending it across to your brand new house because we want you to be back in action on commentary as well as in the Cricbuzz live studio. So, New Zealand versus Afghanistan it is. Both teams have beaten England. Well, they got that big fish, England, in trouble as well. But New Zealand, the ultimate nice guys, as they say, Joy. And it's a team that has won 2 games that they were expected to, and 1 game that perhaps they weren't so much expected to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the way you've got to look at it. When you have to look at this table, it's one thing about saying, what the table looks like. The second thing is saying, who are the teams? What are the games that teams have actually dropped? What has New Zealand won? New Zealand would look at them and say that, that England match would have been a 50-50 match, perhaps one which is a tight encounter. Yeah. But the other two, they should have won. They would have fancied their chances about winning. Yep. On the other hand, you look at Australia. Australia, both their first 2 matches were matches which they thought could be tight. South Africa, India, both were tight. And they dropped both of them. But look, they haven't played in Afghanistan or Bangladesh. They haven't dropped points against those. So whenever you look at the table at this point in time, you also have to bear in mind who have they played against. And that's, I think, important. And the one thing New Zealand does very well is they're very, very miserly. They never drop points to teams who are under them. They're very clinical about that.
Yes, since 2019, look at their record in ICC tournaments. That includes 2 T20 World Cups and, of course, an ODI World Cup as well. Harsha, this team doesn't have those random off days that a lot of other superstar teams can have.
No, I think New Zealand just say, this is how we are going to play. They don't worry about who's in the side, who's not in the side. Does Williamson have a freak injury to his thumb? They just said, this is how we are going to play. You want to beat us, you play better than us, but we won't drop our standards. Yeah. And I think that is why you mentioned they don't have that many off days. That's why they don't lose too many games to teams that are ranked much below them. If you play better than them on the day, shake hands, well played. That is the way to beat New Zealand. But you won't get anything from them. They won't just turn up one day and say, what happened today? A bit like what England did against Afghanistan, for example. What was that? That was not England. But you won't get too much of that from New Zealand.
Afghanistan felt really at home. Rashid Khan tweeted thanking the Delhi crowd as well. Now, that victory cannot be a flash in the pan. Was it for you? What did you make of that win against England? Was it Afghanistan winning or was it England losing?
2 things. It tells you that the crowd can be in your favor, that you don't have to crib about the crowd all the time.
Yes.
That the crowd can be in your favor, number 1. Number 2, it was a perfect storm for Afghanistan. There wasn't due. They got the runs. Don't forget both the upsets that have taken place. Whether it was Netherlands or Afghanistan, they batted first, they got the runs, and then just bowled honest. Whether you saw Netherlands or whether you saw the way Afghanistan bowled, just bowled honest. Wicket to wicket, you come and get us if you want to score runs. But the big thing for Afghanistan that day, a little bit of grip, and Mujib was bowling well. So you'll see in a lot of Indian grounds, because we don't change characters so suddenly, right? Finally, our character is what our character is. Our pitches, if there is no due in a 100 overs game, will slow down a little bit, will grip and turn a little bit if there is no due. And that is what England got caught in. But I also suspect sometimes when you're playing against teams like Afghanistan, Joy knows the history of England versus Afghanistan far better because he knows the 18th, 19th centuries better than I do. But sometimes you can almost say, yeah, this game's okay. Let's have another round of golf. And then suddenly, before you know it, you're stuck.
Would Afghani fans celebrate that win against England more if they beat New Zealand today?
No, I think they've already got it. And what a great place to do it. Delhi, two of Delhi's biggest market. You know, when everyone talks about Delhi, they talk about the Khan market elite. Well, the Khan market is named after whom? Khan Abdul Jabbar Khan from the northwest frontier province, Afghanistan. Then another big market is Ghaffar market, named after Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. So Delhi is all about, there is a huge Afghan history in Delhi. Shah Rukh Khan's father came.
Correct.
That same group of people. So what we are talking about is, that's why they got support also. But I think the important thing is, going away from history, the moment this Afghanistan team scores 280, 290, 300 and gets a pitch that does a little bit for their spinners, they're in it. Their problem was their batsmen always batted like a T20 game, could never get them. So they'd be all out in 190s and 200s. And that kind of score, a Rashid Khan, you don't need to attack a Rashid Khan, you can play away a Rashid Khan. Moment it's 280, you've got to score runs against him. That's when Rashid Khan's dangerous.
Pitch number 6 being used for this match. Afghanistan have won the toss and they've chosen to chase. Harsha, what do you make of that decision?
That's interesting because maybe they think it's already too dry and maybe they think there might be a little bit of dew in the evening, so maybe we'll be able to keep them down. But I just thought Afghanistan's strength was, let's go put runs on the board and then squeeze with our spin. But they probably think it's dry enough already to keep New Zealand down to a low score.
Joy, good call to chase.
I'm really surprised. Obviously, they've seen something, as Harsha is saying. They've seen something because, look, this is not a disciplined, batting side where they know everything. They're the kind who bat better without the pressure of a target on their heads.
Yep.
See, batting with the target, Cricbuzz, their best batsman, perhaps you look at it, most talented batsman, all his runs, the way they score runs. So I'm really, really surprised that they've chosen this. They must have seen something really, really different in this pitch, or known that practice the day before that dew is coming in very early, their spinners can't work in the evening. There has to be a very good reason for it because this is not their template. Definitely.
Yes, I've just been told by the producer that Hashmatullah Shahid, the captain, mentioned at the toss that they expect dew to come into play in the second innings in this game against New Zealand in Chennai. What is their playing 11 looking like? Have they changed it? Have they gone in with the same 11? Yes. Harsha, no surprises there? Or would you have thought about bringing in Noor Ahmed?
No, I think they've got enough in terms of spin because they've got all kinds of spin. I think the big thing was a return of Mujib. Mujib's not been in great form in recent times. So when Mujib comes in, he's a bit like Tikshana for Sri Lanka in that he plays different roles. He can bowl in the middle, he can bowl at the top, he can bowl at the end as well. And that allows you a little more freedom with Naveen-ul-Haq and Fazal Farooqi. Look, this is a very good bowling side. There's not a name you don't know there, especially for us in India. They all come and play the IPL. Some play it with a smile, some play it with a little more passion. But we all know those bowlers. So the bowling side is excellent, but I think the return to form of Mujib makes a huge difference. There are 4 or 5 left-handers in that New Zealand side, so Mohammad Nabi can hit that matchup works very well. I think it was PP the other day who said it was the perfect matchup. This could well be another perfect matchup day for Afghanistan, but they've got to get those wickets early. I also think Fazal Farooqi, he was also a little off form. He got a couple of wickets that might come in handy for them.
Before we talk about Mujib a lot more in detail, let's bring up the New Zealand 11. Remember, no Kane Williamson. I've been told he's got an undisplaced thumb fracture. Will Young comes back in. They've gone back to that plan minus Kane Williamson. It's looking okay, Joy?
Yeah, it's looking fine. Look, the whole point is everyone would look at it and say that, do you play Shodhi or not? And there's a simple point out here. New Zealand does not play about the pitch's strengths or not. They look at the opponent and who they're playing against.
Yep.
Anytime they feel that there's an opponent who's not used to playing top quality fast bowling, they'll always play Lockie Ferguson.
Yep.
Look at the lengths Lockie bowled in the last match. He kept it up here. He just kept it out here. Bangladesh batsmen, they're not used to that kind of pace. The Afghan batsmen will not be used to it as well. So that's what I like about them. They're very straight about it. And in that boring predictability of New Zealand's selection decisions, everyone could have, there's absolutely no surprise in their decisions. You could have known it the previous day. It tells you one other story: consistency. They're very consistent about what they want to do and how they want to do it.
Harsha, you okay with Lockie being...
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, the only thing I thought on this surface, they've obviously read the surface much better than we do. We are looking at it from a distance. I thought they might look at Ish Sodhi, and I thought Ish Sodhi, maybe even for Chapman, if they can back the batting of Santner, I thought maybe Sodhi, but that might have been too bowling heavy. At the moment, what Ish Sodhi needs to do is go and have a word with Chahal and say what happens when a left armer who can bat comes into the side, the wrist spinner goes out. So Rachin Ravindra has come in, and as a result, because he's giving you overs, Ish Sodhi is going out. Also, not a lot of left-handers in the Afghanistan side, so they can play two lefties. But I thought they might play Ish Sodhi on this one, and he's no mug with the bat. Matt Henry can bat. So I thought Sodhi for Chapman might have been one way to go for them.
Yes, while spin got a fair bit of help in Chennai in the first two matches, someone like a Lockie Ferguson, Joy, helps because you need someone who can give some shock and awe treatment to the opposition.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just look at those numbers again. I mean, I just was probably getting to this point early that it's just that he knows how to bowl to attacks, and they do their homework very well. The lengths that he's going to bowl, and because he's got a lot of pace, okay, his main speed is in the air. It doesn't matter how good or bad the pitches are often because he's got that kind of pace. Yep. He's got the raw pace to really trouble batsmen who are not used to it. And I think that's what they use him. Remember, again, we are talking about that same situation. 11 to 40, he's their main bowler in that period. Because if Bolt and Henry don't give you stuff up front, then Santner comes in, and Santner again is going to be one of those bowlers they're going to use all over the place. Because Santner is a bit like Mujib. He can bowl in the opening overs as well. Yep. He's got that ability to bowl at any place. So Santner and Lockie, though, are the key for 11 to 40 for them.
Lots of bouncers coming Afghanistan's way from Lockie, bowling second.
I won't be surprised at all because sometimes the Asian sides show a little vulnerability against pace. And if Ferguson can really get that pace going, which he is now, I think the last game he got his rhythm back. So if he can get that pace going, he can be that enforcer in the middle overs. But I still think the key is Santner. I think Santner has bowled beautifully in this tournament. So I think Santner through those middle overs. But yeah, Lockie as the enforcer, definitely.
Afghanistan, of course, are bowling first in this match. They won the toss. And, at the start of the tournament, we all thought maybe they are one strike bowler short. Fazal Farooqi doesn't really evoke any fear in the opposition. But with what Nabi did in that last game, with what Mujib did, is there a better balance to this Afghanistan side?
It's better, and Harsha made that important point. Fazal Haq Farooqi coming back in form is really important to them. Gives them that left arm option. He was completely off colour in the Asia Cup. I mean, he did not complete his quota in a single match. He went for 6-7 overs, and for their top bowler not to do that, especially in a situation where you have to bowl later. I mean, that's what he's, the last 5 games, he's just 7.2. That's a huge difference. And from 5.7, and the important thing is wickets. 15 wickets versus 2 wickets. If Farooqi does not get wickets up front, he struggles.
Yep.
So it's important for them that he bowls really well up front. And if he's just coming off a bit of form, a bit of this thing with England, if he's still there, this is a good Afghan bowling side. If he falls away, the problem is they have a problem in the end trying to control the tail. Rather the last few overs.
Yeah, Noor Ahmed, the other one, Naveen ul Haq looked really good in that last game.
Yeah, he did, and he played with a smile too, which is not such a bad thing. But he's always been a good bowler. Again, not the quickest. If the track dips a little bit, is even better. So that's important. But if the spinners don't get along, I know they're bowling first. Just look, they've got Naveen ul Haq and they've got Fazal Haq Farooqi. Yep. Their backup seamer is not the best in the world. I mean, he's still learning his role, Umar Zahid. He's still feeling his way around. So they need to get their spinners going very quickly. So if Mujib gets attacked early on, and I won't be surprised if New Zealand do that, if Mujib gets attacked early on, then suddenly their game plan goes for a toss because Rashid doesn't come on to bowl normally till 13 or 14. With left-handers up front, they might get Nabi in a little early, but they've got a good left-right combination going. New Zealand. So they'll constantly have a right-hander in.
Mujib typically bowls with the new ball. He's not had a great last year and a half or two, but in that game against England, he picked up 3 key wickets. I think he got Root, Brook, and Wokes. I think it is. So that augurs really well. But the margin for error for this man and for Fazal Farooqi on that pitch against an informed Devon Conway, Rachin Ravindra as well, it's not going to be an easy outing.
Look, it's not going to be an easy outing, but the question is who attacks whom first. If he gets a couple of overs well, if he happens to get one wicket through, it'll make a huge difference. On the other hand, if the start is not good, a Chennai can be a pitiless track. Obviously they feel there's something in the track for their bowlers. Otherwise, they wouldn't be bowling first. A team that is so used to batting first is not bowling first unless they know there's really some help for their spinners.
Yep.
So I have a feeling that that's the reason why they're going for it. And if that's the case, then even the opening batsmen of New Zealand, Conway and co, will be slightly, Will Young and Conway will be slightly more circumspect.
Harsha, would you, on cricket broadcasts, want to use the word mystery for Mujib? Was that decoded and is he back to his best?
Look, he's been around for a while now. You say mystery when you don't know what's coming your way. So we say mystery about Tikshana, we say mystery about Mujib, but he's been around for a long time. It shouldn't be a mystery anymore. You should be able to pick him off the hand. The moment you pick him off the hand, he becomes that much easier to play. But the fact that he has these different deliveries and that he mixes them up so well means you're constantly looking. Say with Rashid, for example, it's a question of picking one or the other with that quick arm speed. But with him, there's the off break, there's the one that goes straight through, there's the good old-fashioned leggy, there's a seam-up ball that he slips in sometimes. So you've got to watch very, very closely. So to that extent, yes, there is an element of mystery about him. But as you watch more and more, the mystery should get less and less. And then the quality of the bowler must come through. With a lot of mystery bowlers, the moment they get decoded, then suddenly they don't know where to go because that's been their strength. We saw that with Ajanta Mendes. Yeah. You saw that briefly with Varun Chakravarti, that they had to then Varun had to come back and become a better bowler. So that is what might have happened to some extent with Mujib. So watch out for that. Watch out tactically. Someone like a Conway going after him. Will Young is back in the side. He's a good batter. But we haven't talked about my favorite New Zealand batter yet, and that's Daryl Mitchell.
We will come to it. But Harsha, the one mystery that the country wants an answer to is, when is Mr. Harsha Bhogle going to be back in the Cricbuzz studio and on commentary?
See, that's not a mystery. That's an answer you want. The mystery is, how does Gaurav Kapoor eat so much and still remain there? That's a mystery. There's a difference between the two. One is an unknown entity, one is a mystery.
How does he pretend to know about Karelas and Laukis and everything? Where does Gaurav Kapoor eat all that?
Gaurav Kapoor. Unless it has a very fancy English name.
Yeah.
Bitter gourd. Yeah. Karela, what are you talking about?
All these Bandrawalas know all the fancy names.
Armoggio. Call it Armoggio. Sounds good.
Armoggio.
Sir, when are you coming back? That's the key question, sir.
I don't know, man. I'm still not 100% in terms of energy. This dengue sucks a fair bit out of you, so takes a long time for energy to come back. I was hoping tomorrow, but it's not looking great. So I'm targeting Dharamshala on the 22nd.
Lovely.
At the ground.
Good to know.
Let's see.
Good to know.
Well, I was targeting tomorrow, but that I'm struggling with energy.
Right. So you guys and girls watching Cricbuzz Live right now, please send in your good wishes, good vibes to the voice of cricket so that he can be back.
The mosquito doesn't understand vibes. The mosquito is...
Sir, we will get the best doctor in the world for you, sir. If you want, we'll go and speak to your doctor. Ki jaldi theek karo sir ko.
Yeah, and it's an Arshad Ayub mosquito. Dengue mosquitoes are always here. They're never above the ankle. So it's an Arshad Ayub mosquito.
Right. Sorry, go on.
There's worse things happening in the world. This is...
Right. Let's come back to this contest between Afghanistan and New Zealand. Now, Daryl Mitchell, Harsha, you spoke about him. In the absence of Kane Williamson, is he the man that this batting lineup revolves? Because he's someone who's come into his own in the last 4 years. 4 years ago, he barely made it to that side. Now he's first choice. What do you make of Daryl Mitchell, and what's his role in this lineup that does not have Kane Williamson?
Isn't Daryl Mitchell's father a rugby coach?
Yep.
John Mitchell, yeah.
Is a rugby coach. But Daryl Mitchell, you knew he was one of those who was around. He'd come in and do a little bit here, a little bit there, come and bowl the end overs. Then we saw the T20 World Cup, that New Zealand-England game. where Daryl Mitchell just took on England, and we said, yeah, for a while. And he just went on and on and on. And see what that kick started. He then went to England, and I think he got 2 or 3 test match hundreds, comes back, becomes a key member of the T20 side. He's knocking over runs recently in one-day cricket like he was born to play one-day cricket. And all of a sudden, this typical New Zealand player, you thought, bowls a bit, bats a bit, will always be fantastic in the field, is suddenly becoming an all-format, all-situation player. Wickets going down, same Daryl Mitchell. You want runs to be scored in a hurry, same Daryl Mitchell. The numbers, as you just saw, are looking better. And he's just someone who's playing at the top of his game. And I love his attitude. Just making the most of what you have, which is such a New Zealand way of doing things.
Yes, also has good numbers against spin as well. Now that's a quality that will come in handy against this confident spin bowling lineup.
And I see what you like about Daryl Mitchell is, again, I think only Tom Latham is ahead of him in this cycle of the kind of runs he scored. And look at the average against spin, 61.3 at a strike rate of 100. That's seriously good. Again, remember, Daryl Mitchell is coming to it after a long time in domestic cricket. So he made his international cricket debut only in his late 20s. And that also does something for you. When you spend so much time trying to get there, you're not made it at 21, 22.
Yep.
So he appreciates what he's got and he grabs every chance. He doesn't let go of anything. And I think that symbolizes not just Daryl Mitchell, it symbolizes New Zealand as a cricket team. When they get a chance, they grab onto it with everything they have. You never lose, New Zealand never lose a match. You beat them.
Harsha, looking back at that India-Pakistan game, Pakistan, when they were batting first, were accused of not going hard at the Indian spinners. What zone you reckon Daryl Mitchell should be in this match, and the other New Zealanders as well, against Rashid Khan? There's Nabi as well, there's Mujib. Do they take the attack to them? Do they play them out? Do they look for singles? What do they do?
Look, if they find themselves 150 for 2 around the 31st over, they're not 196 all out. That doesn't happen very often with New Zealand. The last time I remember that happening consistently with them was when Wasim and Waqar were bending it round their pads and hitting the stumps.
Yeah.
But that was a very, very long time ago. New Zealand is a better team than it was then. What they will do is they'll say, right, we've got batting till number 8. Mitch Santner's batting at 8. Mark Chapman is a very good batter. He's a floater in there at 7. Let's take a chance with 1 or 2 guys and let's one guy go hard. Because at 150 for 2 in 31 overs, the fielding side is starting to think 300, not just the batting side. The fielding side is starting to think 300. So let's play to their insecurities. Let's go a little harder. I thought Pakistan were a very but almost defensive, almost too self-conscious, almost saying, look, let's not do anything wrong over here. And in doing so, they played into India's hands. Of course, that ball that Siraj bowled to Babar made a big difference. But thereafter, I just got the feeling they were a little insecure. They were a little afraid, maybe. You won't see that with New Zealand. They'll keep going for it. If they're 150 for 2, they're giving you 260, 270.
Harsha, you reckon New Zealand would have spent a lot of time, not obsessing over, but preparing seriously about the Afghanistan spinners, especially after they beat England? Are they looking at Afghanistan differently?
100%. When you're playing Afghanistan, Fazalak Farooq is a good bowler. Naveen Ulaq is a good bowler, but you're not having sleepless nights over them. You're just saying, okay, what's my strategy going to be against Rashid Khan? Do I say, okay, Rashid Khan is not the same bowler in 50 overs cricket in recent times that he's been in 20 overs cricket? Should I say 10-0, 40, 42, 43 against Rashid? Do I just milk him? Is that okay for me? Can I start to pick Mujib? Mujib just drifts some leg side for occasionally. The moment he does that, do I pick him off? And then can I pick on Nabi a little bit? Can I knock him through the offside? But yes, you're thinking carefully about spin. And the one thing you do know about this New Zealand side is they'll be prepared with their game plan. If the game plan doesn't work, it doesn't work. But they'll be ready with their game plan.
Joy, is Rashid their primary weapon? If yes, when should they use them? Because they've been using Rashid Khan late, around the 15-over mark, at times in the 25th over. What's the best way to use Rashid, especially when you're on a high, you've beaten England? Do you go in with an attacking mindset saying, I'm going to bring in Rashid much earlier, maybe in the first 10 an over or 2?
No, look, I seriously believe it depends on the target, the situational situation. So if they are 1 or 2 wickets down and you think that there's a chance of getting in early and this confidence is lost, bring him Rashid early. So you've got to play to the situation. The point is that Rashid is a really good bowler in a situation where batsmen have to be aggressive against him.
Yep.
So again, if the run rate is going down, bring in Rashid. Because the moment that happens, you've got to attack Rashid, you're going to give him wickets. So that's the key to their attack. Their attack has to be, New Zealand is going to be very flexible about how they play the spinners.
Yep.
Okay? Because they will have looked at it, and exactly what Parthiv has said, they are not going to allow that to happen. That Nabi bowling to left-handers and Rashid bowling to right-handers, that kind of thing they will work their way through. They would have seen it, they would have seen video, they will rotate the strike. They will not allow it to happen to them. I promise you that. So then Rashid, it's a question of when do you use him? And I have a feeling you'll see Rashid used in lots of pockets.
Yep.
Whenever you think there's a situation to be exploit, bring him in, push him in, get out 2-3 overs, see what happens, see if you can get out a wicket. He's your strike bowler, and they'll use him throughout. I don't see him bowling very long spells.
Mohammad Nabi, Harsha, got the wicket of David Malan and Sam Curran in that game against England. And with the number of left-handers there are in this New Zealand lineup, is Nabi a bigger threat than Rashid?
I'm not as sure, but he bowls very, very well to left-handers. Not quite Ashwin-esque, but he really bowls well to left-handers. I mean, if you look at the numbers against left-handers, look at that economy rate of 3.84. It also depends on what the caliber of the left-handers he's bowled to. But you're looking at strike rates too, which becomes significantly better. The average becomes better. He's a very good bowler to left-handers. But it doesn't mean that just because an off-spinner comes in, the left-hander just lays down weapons and says, "Sir, all yours now." They'll find a way of playing him. This is a very good New Zealand side. But they'll have their hands full today, make no mistake. If the ball grips, just keep watching. If the ball grips, New Zealand have their hands full today. I don't know if players like Rachin Ravindra, who I think has been given the license to go for it, I don't know whether people like him will be able to go for it if the ball grips. If the ball comes on, as the pitch report says, if the ball will come on, then New Zealand can be looking at a much bigger score.
Do we in cricket media overdo this whole matchup business? Ultimately, it's about skill, isn't it?
It is, but the matchup is an outcome of what has happened in the past. It's not predictive. It is an outcome of what you've already seen in the past. That means if you say, look, Nabi against Rachin Ravindra seems like a good matchup, it is because that has happened in the past. So the matchups are good. The matchups are a reflection of what's actually happened. It's the good thing about the matchups is the batter knows it and the bowler knows it. So eventually it will come down to skill. And that's what our game is about. Both teams have access to the same data, don't forget.
There's a reason they refer to...
So Afghanistan recently at the Asia Cup, as we discovered, were a little short on data.
Yeah. Correct.
They were.
Harsha, I know from whatever little I've seen of you over the years, I know that you never indulge in superlatives. You always have a measured opinion. But we've got to get a reaction from you on this young man, Rachin Ravindra. Has he done enough to excite you about him? Are you going to keep an eye on him? Of course, the word great is very loosely, horribly used in our world these days. What do you make of Rachin Ravindra?
The thing with players like Rachin Ravindra is they're clearly talented. What do they do when there is now the weight of expectation on them? A lot of times the world is very easy when you have nothing to lose. You just turn up, I've got nothing to lose, I'll play freely. That innings against England was very, very special. Make no mistake, it was a fantastic innings. 123 of 96, the ball was coming on well. Now people are saying, oh, hang on, let's take a look at this Rachin Ravindra kid. Let's see how he is. Now, within himself, he's starting to think, next game I got 50 or 50. Maybe that is what I should be doing. So different things start playing in your mind now. And so that is a good indicator of how good you are. How good are you now when you're expected to do well? And that is what people will be looking at with Rachin Ravindra in the next minimum 6 games if he stays fit.
You've seen that spark in him, Joy?
I've seen a spark in him, but again, it's a long, long way to go. There are a lot of talented cricketers out there. He's had a couple of really special innings, but now is the long haul. Yeah. Call it after 6, 7, 8 innings, still a long way. Lot of talent, of course. There's no doubt about that.
Do you guys have...
Sometimes we don't give us too much importance to the warm-up games because it's 15 versus 15, anybody is bowling. But I think the turnaround for Rachin Ravindra came in that warm-up game against Pakistan and Hyderabad.
Yes.
Yeah, where he just went off,
Time now for Joy Factor. So, what have you got for us?
I like this question. I enjoy this question. And Harsha, I know you'll like it too. Which cricketer reached double figures with the bat for the first time in his 36th test, but has a video on YouTube about batting that has over 375,000 views?
reached double figures for the first. I reached I scored my first run for my school team in the last game of the season. So I can understand. But I was just a kid, 9th standard kid playing with 12th standard kids. So.
Yep.
So, Joy, you've got to also tell us how to go about decoding these, sir. It's very difficult.
This is a straight question. I mean, look, this one is, there's no trick about it. But yeah, double figures in 36 tests tells you a story.
Okay, so you guys have 2 challenges. One is to crack this one, and the other, send good vibes. Tell all the matchars in the world to stay away from people that we want to see more of on television. A quick reminder on what's happened in the toss. Afghanistan have won the toss and they've chosen to bowl first. Can we take a quick look at the lineups? Just the one change. Will Young comes in for Kane Williamson, who's out with a fractured thumb, that is. And for Afghanistan, they've gone in unchanged after beating the world champions, England. Time now for our predictions, gentlemen. Joy, first innings. New Zealand batting first.
My point is, obviously they say there's something in the pitch, but who do I trust more? I think, is it Dew or is it the pitch is gripping? So I'm going to say that it's Dew, and therefore New Zealand will have a good innings, and it's 285 for me.
Harsha, who do you trust more, Dew or Dool? Simon Dool.
I trust Dool, and I'll trust SMG on this, and I'll go 312.
Okay, I like the number 301. Let's lock it and make sure...
that all these anchors on Cricbuzz always take the middle path. Come on, express yourself.
Sir,
tell us what you really think.
Sir, I'm safe, no, with the two of you on either side. It's always safe. Okay, with senior pros on either side, I'm safe. It's always good to be like that. So,
बहुत दिनों से कर रहे हो, but बहुत दिनों से कर रहे हो. Now change your orders and change your...
Sir, you only taught me a straight bat always works in live and in cricket. So, ठीक है. हो गया भाई. We are done with Cricbuzz Live, the pre-show. We will see you at the 15th over mark on Cricbuzz Combox, while Mr. Bhogle will be sipping some Karela juice sitting in his brand new home in Upper Parel.
With a fantastic background.
Lovely background. We'll see you again at the halfway mark with Mr. Bhogle right here, and Joy will join me on Cricbuzz Combox at the 15th over mark. Bye for now.